It's a summer that started just west of the Tasman Sea, and it's now all finishing up at Hamilton, the final T20 International of 3 and the final match of, as I said, what's been a long summer for Team India. Here on Cricbuzz Live, we'll not only look at the prospects for this game that lies ahead, but a quick look back at what's happened in Hamilton late in the afternoon. Of course, it's still bright and sunny there. The summer is still very much in focus. The women, this time around, it was a whitewash against the White Ferns, but it was one of those whitewashes you look back at when you say that you were in every single game. A competitive series. Got Zaheer Khan, Harsha, Bhogle in the Cricbuzz Live studio. Looking back on that, the women will obviously be proud of their performance, but sometimes you need that pride to be replaced by the result.
Did you say it was bright and sunny in Hamilton? Is that why you're wearing bright and sunny jackets today?
Trying to keep up with it.
Bright and sunny, you think? Look at Zach and me, and look at you. Bright and sunny. Indian women have an issue in closing games. I think they should have won today because it was all set up for Harmanpreet to win. If you look at Harmanpreet's scores, it's showing a worrying tendency of having one big marquee score that you remember for a long time, and then a series of matches that she should win but isn't. I mean, today was set up for Harmanpreet to win the game, and she didn't get those. So it's a bit worrisome. 16 of the last overs was always going to be tough because you didn't have the big hitter around. Harmanpreet had to be batting in the last over.
But you have to look at the bright spark, Smriti Mandhana. I mean, some people might be a little harsh and say she should have stayed till the end, got herself 100, got India over the line. But the very fact that India are getting that close is thanks to her form every time, 50s, 60s, 70s, throughout the ODIs and the T20 International. Let's just quickly show you the numbers, Zaheer, and then you can respond to that with this. Well, what a series. In the ODI, started with that fabulous 100, followed it up with a 90 in the second ODI, and then in the T20 series, just look at the strike rates and look at the scores. Gave the platform every time with Jemima.
Well, that's a responsibility, isn't it? A top-order batsman's responsibility is to have that platform set for the middle order and the finishers to come in and do the job. So I think Smriti Mandhana plays that role in the team, and she's been consistent right throughout. So it's about the other lower order to lower middle order to contribute and finish the games.
Look, she made 86 in 10 overs, which means the others had to make 74 in 10 between them. So as the opener, as Zach said, you've got to give the start score most of the runs, and she scored at a quicker rate than the rest had to score. So she's done her role magnificently. Sometimes when one person is winning you so many matches, you tend to assume that person is going to win you games. I mean, I've seen that in single batsman dominated teams a lot, that when that person gets out, suddenly the team crumbles.
But there's something about her, a treat to watch when you just watch her play. I know Harmanpreet's a very different kind of player. She can bludgeon the ball to any part of any cricket ground in the world. But Smriti Mandhana, even when she's not hitting it hard, it's going to the boundary.
And she's got such an amazing story. When she was growing up, she thought that cricket was a left-handed game. She didn't know you could bat right-handed because her elder brother was batting left-handed. So she just picked up the bat and started batting left-handed. So she thought that cricket is played left-handed. I mean, it's incredible. She's from Sangli. Sangli in Maharashtra, coming from there. But what a player she is. Even when she hits the sixes, she hits them so clean.
No bias towards the eastern part of the country, but a little bit of Saurav Ganguly in terms of her timing?
No, the bias only with the gentleman in yellow today. No, but we had her in England. We had her in the studio along with Saurav. And we said, does she, I asked very, little scared because the last time someone asked Mitali that, she said, do you ask the guys that question? But I did ask Saurav and whether, there's a bit of him in Smriti, because when she drives through the offside, it is so pretty to watch. Beautiful. Yeah. She's a wonderful player.
Well done to the girls. It might be 3-0 against them, but certainly they've performed well in the ODIs and the T20 internationals. But let's quickly move on to this men's game coming up, and India will be bowling first, rather. Rohit Sharma winning the toss for a change, and it's going to be New Zealand batting first. One change for Team India, and this is one we talked about at the end of the second T20 internationals. Could we see Kuldeep coming in? And the only way really for him to come in without disturbing the combination of a Vijay Shankar is to have replaced Chahal.
Well, that's one thing we've seen consistently with this team, that they've been wanting to work around a formula of playing 11. They wanted the likewise replacements. Like we've seen it in Kuldeep and Chahal's case also in ODIs. Like they've been very clear when those two are going to play together. When they have some cushion in batting. Otherwise, they've been maintaining that only one of them has been playing. T20 being they want to have that cushion, that support of and comfort of having that deep batting lineup. And that's something which was evident right throughout the series, and that's the reason I think this was a very calculated change. Like Kuldeep, they've rested initial part of the series. Both of them, I feel, is certainty. Chahal and Kuldeep. It's just that now, because it's a crucial decider game, they want to have this variation which New Zealand batsmen will have to tackle with.
Just to counter that, I mean, we talk about 50-over cricket, and you might need your 6, 7, 8 to perform. How often would you need that extra batter to perform in a T20 game?
Yeah, but the extra batsman is also giving you runs. The option was to leave out either a Vijay Shankar or a Dinesh Karthik and play the extra bowler. But that assumes that Vijay Shankar is a batsman. That's what we've seen so far. Yeah, that would have been another way to. But obviously they're confident with both Hardik and Krunal giving them 4 overs. And in a sense, it's also throwing responsibility on them, saying, look, there is no other option. You have to bowl 4 overs and seeing how they respond. It's also a big development phase for both the brothers and for Khalil Ahmed, saying, look, you have to bowl 4. Saying if we have to take him to the World Cup, he'll have to take responsibility in certain situations. Let's see how he takes responsibility. Let's tell him, okay, you have to bowl 4 overs. You have no choice. There's no hiding place here.
Now, one thing about the Indian unit, they have been taking responsibility because we've seen a pattern. Every time they've fallen behind or every time they've lost a game, and in some cases, like the Hamilton ODI, lost it pretty badly, they've come back immediately and responded with a win. And I think this set of numbers just tells you that story of how you lose a game, no matter how badly you lose it, come back immediately.
There was a time when the pattern was exactly the opposite. India would go overseas, win a test match and then lose after that. I don't know, Zach. My theory is that the losses are aberrations. That in Australia, India were easily the better side. Yeah. Even more so in ODIs than in T20s. India were the better side. And here in New Zealand, maybe lesser so, but India is still the better side in limited overs cricket. So the losses are an aberration.
But still, I mean, you might call it an aberration with the fact that you've lost it and you're, all out for under 100 in a game. You have to be mentally strong enough to come, along with, of course, being the better side.
Is it a kick up the backside sometimes that it's good?
I think it's in terms of consistency. The kind of consistency which team has achieved, and we often speak about winning is a habit. So when you lose a game, it hurts you equally bad. That because you're setting those high standards. So I think it's just combination of that. Also the fact is at the moment, if you look at the other teams, they're kind of in a rebuilding phase. You look at Australia, you look at South Africa for that matter, you look at West Indies. I think that is also a factor in terms of a team coming back as well from losses. So more often than not, it has been the things which the team has not been able to do on that particular day, rather than them losing match. Like you look at Hamilton as well. They decided to bat first on that kind of track, got out early. But that's something which was an experimentation of sort.
Yeah, I think that just as you said, being a better team. Just to go back to the women for a minute, it's not necessarily that they were a gulf ahead of New Zealand. They had to play better, and in these 3 occasions they couldn't.
Also, I get the feeling India's women's team is a 3-player team, 3 batsmen, whatever team. And therefore, if they lose 3 wickets, there's not a lot of batting below, though Deepti Sharma batted well today. With India, I think it's a bit like playing a 4-setter. Federer wins a 4-setter round 2, you don't say, oops, what happened, right? It's okay to win a 4-setter in a 4th round. I think it's a bit like that you will lose the odd game because the shorter the game, the closer the teams come together. So even though Federer is a better player than rank 150 in the 2nd round at Wimbledon, he might lose the odd set in between. I think it's a bit like that.
And there are times when he'd lose the first set maybe 6-1 and then bounce back to win the next 3, and that's when you see that he's a gulf ahead.
Perhaps he's now 38, so he's struggling a little bit.
Also, looking back at what's happened in the summer so far, we just wanted to get our experts' perspective on exactly what have been the gains from this series so far. and I think that's something worth looking back. It's the last game of the series. And just to sum up what's happened, not just in New Zealand, but in Australia as well. Let's come to you, Harsha, first. Obviously, there are many moments, many gains to pick from, but if you had to really pick the ones that stand out.
If we include the test matches, then two big ones in the test matches, and something that Zach will feel very happy about, sustained bowling by three quick bowlers. I mean, we've always had decent fast bowlers, but never three coming like a pack. You know, to say that India's fast bowlers are like a pack was something we hadn't heard before. So if you include test matches, the fast bowling in a pack and Pujara. And Pujara coming out of a period of restlessness, insecurity, which I thought was unwarranted, but we had pushed Pujara into a period of insecurity. So to come out of that and score the runs that he did, they're still talking about him in Australia, by the way. They can't believe that someone can bat that long. So in the test matches, those two for me.
Zaheer, looking back at...
I think overall it has been a very contribution from everyone. I think that really stood out for me. Like if you look at the bowling as well, like they've and batting for that matter. Like there's not been just one batsman carrying through or one bowler carrying through. You had impact spells by every bowler. Be it Ashwin in that first test, where he took those 3 wickets. Be it Bumrah in Melbourne. Pujara's 100. Virat's 100 at Perth as well. Like even though the match was lost, I think that had a greater impact on the series because you still had 2 test matches to go from that, and the series was 1-1 that. So so there are different moments which Indian team has managed to win by different individuals stepping up at,
it's a very valid point.
At different
very
series.
valid point. Ajinkya Rahane got a crucial 70, a counter-attacking 70. Mayank Agarwal got two crucial innings. And at first test, he talked about Ashwin. India were gone, 120 for 6? 120 for 5, something like that. Rishabh Pant got a 25, Ashwin got a 25. They batted with the Pujara, they took the score to 250. I think that was the turning point of the series. So Zach is absolutely right. Kuldeep Yadav comes in, takes 5. So in the test matches, lots to be happy about.
And overall as a unit, when one person passes a test of character, Pujara is sort of tried and tested. Imagine being asked to make your debut on Boxing Day. Whatever might be said about Australia's batting, their bowling was pretty decent. And to be asked to do that and to perform.
And he was wide-eyed. I remember, the day before the test match, everyone's milling around. And I saw this guy. He had his back to me. I saw him in the center of the MCG. And I do that sometimes because it's a giant stadium. And I thought that they'd send a support staff out to just check something because he had his back to me. And he was there for about 10 minutes. And then when he turned, I realized it was Mayank Agarwal. So I said, have you been told you're playing? Because, I followed him. I felt for him. Someone who's now 27, 28, it's tough. And then he wasn't allowed to tell, right? But he said, I've been given that indication. Because he knew that the team was going to be announced. But he said, making my debut here. And he was wide-eyed. It was a big thing. I said, Sehwag made 195. So it's okay. You might get some runs here too. But I thought his debut was fantastic. I think his debut was a strength of the first-class system. That you're getting players coming through. Someone like Priyank Panchal, I think, is also ready to move on. Mayank Agarwal is ready. Prithvi Shaw is there. So I thought, and he played wonderfully. Mayank, I thought he might play too many shots, but he looked fine.
Debut is a little different from a bowling perspective than a batsman. I mean, nothing to belittle what bowlers achieve, but do you agree that as a bowler, it's a little bit not easier, but slightly different when you're not that much in the focus. You could not pick up a wicket, and it's not that you're out first ball and you've got to sit around.
As a bowler, yes, you have more time. Like if you're on debut, even if you falter with your first spell, you always have that chance of coming back. You can settle the butterflies because first match is always it's that emotional, mental side also comes into play.
Do you remember your first day walking out?
Of course. Kenya 2000, October 2000, 3rd of October, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I couldn't sleep a night before. That's something which is just the magnitude of the situation. Like all you've been working towards, all your hard work, the sacrifices, and it has always been a dream. And for anyone who starts playing, it's
was your thinking just hold the first spell okay, or was your thinking hala dikha dunga aaj mere ko chance mila hai?
Well. So the first ball I bowled was actually wide down the leg side. And on this swung a bit, and as I was walking back, I said, okay, things can only get better from here. So that was the start for me at the international level.
But on the subject of things getting better, yes, I know we talked about the test matches, important, but World Cup year, obviously you knew the focus was going to be on the limited overs part of the tournament. And, well, Mohammad Shami is one name that really stands out.
That's why I said, are you talking about the test matches? The moment you say one-dayers, the moment you say one-dayers, Mohammad Shami has been the big plus. And when he's bowling like he bowled in the World Cup of 2015. If you remember, him and Umesh bowled beautifully in the World Cup of 2015. I mean, actually, you might know better since you know. I look at Shami, and the first thing that strikes me is, does he himself know how good he is? Because I've seen people in other walks of life who have no idea how good they are. And I get the feeling when I look at Shami, maybe he's actually better than he thinks he is, because when he gets it right, he's such a treat to watch.
He is, but like any fast bowler, it's always dependent on how your body is responding. You know, that's something a big
mental state as well. I mean, he's come through difficulty in personal life.
That does play a part, but I think more so physically as well. You know, you got to be up there, and it's one-dimensional action. You know, so you look at tennis players, for that matter, bowlers. You know, it's always one-dimensional, and it takes a toll on your body, and the imbalances then develop in your body, which results in injuries at times. So that's something in Shami's case also. So if you look at 2015, after that he got injured, had a very bad knee injury, which put him out for about a year, and then after that he has shortened his run-up as well. So that's something, the adjustment which he has done. He was going through up and downs of life as well, and just outside cricket as well. So but he always has a talent. Like you look at the release, the seam is upright. All you need is just the rhythm to be there, the fitness needs to be there, and he'll deliver.
How many times in your career did you think, wow, man, my body is my slave. It can do what I want. Everything is right. Physically, I'm feeling top of the world, no niggle at all. I'm feeling great.
Well, there was a patch, I think, that from 2006 when I started playing county. So from that till about 2008-9 till I got injured in Australia again with plantar fascia. I was out for about 2.5 months.
Fabulous feeling. Huh?
Till that point, it was like I didn't have to. I could just wake up and wake up from my sleep, go and bowl. It was as simple as that. I was not feeling tired, even though I was bowling 20-25 overs in a day, and that's just the rhythm.
The reason I asked, I wonder if Shami is feeling like that now, because he's fit.
Looks like it. Looks like it for sure.
Just one final point on a technical point. When we saw Shami reversing the ball against the West Indies at the Eden Gardens, there were a lot of people saying, wow, we found ourselves a perfect test match bowler. The question is, how will he bowl when he puts the blue jersey on? And the fact is now, he's put his hand up in that World Cup squad. So again, he's adaptable as well, despite everything else we're saying about him.
Yes, I think he has done it. He's the quickest to get to 100 wickets as well. So that shows. It's just that he's not been part of the ODI side for a while. But in terms of ability, he has always been there. So it's just about backing that. I still feel that the best way of utilizing Shami's ability in ODI cricket is to finish his quota of overs by 41st, 42nd overs. So that's something which you can use him aggressively. You can look at him as wicket taking option, and his numbers also suggestive of that. You've seen that in last 7 ODIs also he's taken 14 wickets. So along with Kuldeep and Chahal, you have one more option who can create that impact. That gives you liberty to use Bumrah in a different manner as well. So that's something which team management has to mull over.
We talk about the 2 wrist spinners. If you see what Australia said, if you see what New Zealand said, they talked about India's bowling. Traditionally, we've been a batting-dominated limited over side. But over the last 2 series, the opposition captain has talked about India's bowling. And I think other than the 2 wrist spinners, Shami's had a big part to play. Now, if he continues bowling like this, you go to the World Cup. If you think Bhuvi needs a day off, you've got Shami there. On a day that maybe it's a little cloudy and they're playing day games, maybe at the start there's some life, you can play all 3. So suddenly Shami's giving you those options. And I think it's also fair to say that the others who were given the option didn't take it. So I still won't be surprised if Umesh Yadav comes in and plays the one-days against Australia and makes a case for himself.
Yeah, well, obviously there was also the case for Ambati Rayudu, but that's going to be another discussion. We want to focus on the game right here, right now in Hamilton. Remember, it's Kane Williamson and company who'll have to set a score here. The last time they played against England, they were chasing a mammoth total, and they fell a couple of runs short against England. 194 was what they had to chase down. That one key change, which was already talked about before, which was Lockie Ferguson being given a rest, and a lot of focus on Blair Tickner. They rate him very highly in New Zealand. 6'5". He's got a decent short delivery. Not talk too much about the Yorker though.
That's what I heard somebody say. If I was 6'5", the first ball I would want to perfect is a Yorker. I mean, can you imagine? They used to talk about Joel Garner's Yorkers, and they said the ball just came from a different planet, and the trajectory was like that. So if you're 6'5", how much the ball is coming from? What, 9 feet?
Easy.
Yeah, 9.5 feet. The ball is coming from. If the batsman is say 5'8", he's looking there at the ball, right? So it's coming at that angle. So if I was a young kid, I'd want to bowl Yorkers only.
But Ferguson's been the standout.
They say he's very quick, right? Sorry.
Yeah, he's supposed to be decently quick, but I'm not sure he's going to be quite 150 like Lockie Ferguson. So from New Zealand's point of view, they're trying out a newcomer, but certainly their bowling will be weakened without Lockie Ferguson. So India will look at that as a plus.
Yes, you can hope that because Kuggeleijn is playing. I think that's one change which I was hoping New Zealand would do. Good for India that they've not made that change. But with Tickner, I think in this format, especially in T20 format, if you're that tall and you're able to extract that bounce of the wicket, it's always hard because batsmen are looking to take more chances. And when you have bounce like that, there is more often than not you'll see a lot of batsmen skying those deliveries and getting out caught.
Yep. So remember, we've also, since we talked about Shami making into that India World Cup squad, or certainly putting his hand up and looking like a
in the World Cup squad.
In the World Cup squad, okay.
Unless he's injured in the World Cup squad. You can't do more than what Shami's done.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But remember, we're not just focusing on India. We've been showing you so many of the other World Cup squads. And now, with the next time Cricbuzz Live will be back, it's going to be India against Australia in the home series. So it only makes logical sense for today's discussion to go on to being Team Australia. Hashtag My World Cup Squad. We want your squads in as well. We'll get all our experts in with their teams. Now, one factor remaining. We have been pleading with Joy Bhattacharya to try and make it tougher and tougher. He had a toughie for us last time around. Only he got the answer right. This time around, he's got something very interesting for us. It's not necessarily relevant to Hamilton or the New Zealand team here, but something very varied. Connect fast bowlers Colin Croft and Travis Friend with actor John Travolta and former Odisha Chief Minister Biju Patnaik. Well, he's got an interesting one. Joy Bhattacharya, I suspect I have at least one of those players gave me a big hint to it. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it. I can already see you smiling, Harsha, but don't give anything away.
He's covering all the continents.
Yeah. But without giving anything away, you do know the answer. Fair enough. We won't give any hints away, except we just need a number right now.
I was just wondering if I could hit the answer before our two friends.
Well, we don't know. We just hope we can get a newcomer getting an answer in there, because I think Sharat retired, as we said the last time around, along with AB de Villiers. But a reminder again, last time around, England played New Zealand 194, and they just about defended that. It's that kind of ground.
Yeah, 194, 192, something
194,
like that.
192.
Yeah. But every time we've gone by past numbers, and not a single game so far, the past numbers have held up. So I don't know what time that game started, whether this game is starting...
That was a 7 o'clock local time start.
Yeah, this is a little later.
1 hour later.
Yeah, this is 1 hour later. I don't know. I'd go by the most recent assessment, which is Simon Doole's pitch report, where he said 200 is par. So because scores have been... Okay, I'll go 195.
195?
I'm going 165.
Chalo, yeah.
Oh, I was going to go around that region as well, but I somehow have a feeling the half of the kulcha factor will have something for India to work with. So I'm going to go even less than that. I'm going to go 155 for India to have a nice finish. And let's remind you once again of that record. India have had 10 consecutive unbeaten T20 international series, and this could be number 11 to level them with Pakistan. So enough incentive for India to play, finish the tour on a high, and of course pick up that record. 10th over, Cricbuzz Combox returns, and halfway through we'll see how our terrible predictions, if we are even starting to improve on that department.